So we're going to see how we can vectorize this lettering piece with geometric shapes. So what's really interesting with geometric shapes is that this is absolutely flawless in terms of distance, of dimensions. It's going to be very consistent, so you can see that this type of lettering is really what we want to vectorize with geometric shapes, because we need to be absolutely perfect, consistent. We need the distances to be respected. We need these angles to look the same all throughout the whole drawing. So we are going to get to it just right now. So I made a very precise drawing work. As you can see, it's not exact to the perfection, but this is pretty close from flawless. So I can't stress enough that you need to make sure your drawing is really precise. So take extra time to make it really, really nice. Okay, so once it's scanned, you have imported it in Illustrator. You just need to double click on this layer here. You check template. You dim it. I like to dim it down to 30% personally. Okay, rename it template, and we're going to draw some guides. So I like to make a layer dedicated to guides. If you don't have your rulers here and here, it's simple to unveil them by pressing CMD on a Mac or Control on a PC, CMD plus R. And then you just drag your guides down, okay? So as you can see, it's not perfect here. It's nice. It's nicer here, okay? So you drag it down like this on the x-axis, okay? Then we're going to draw one here. We want the same distance from here to here and the distance from here to here, okay? So it's simple. You just take the rectangle tool like this, okay? Move it up so you can use it as a reference, and you can see that the drawing is not perfect here, but it's better, way better here, okay? We just need two more. This one down. Use the rectangle tool, okay? Up here. Bring down the guide, and we're done. Okay, so the last type of guide we need is this one. You see the diagonal here. And this is going to be a little tricky because we need to remember the exact angle, okay? So Illustrator is not really precise, so we're going to do this in two different parts, okay? So the first thing we need to do is to use the line tool here, okay? So it's not a guide, we're using a line that we're going to transform into a guide just after that. So make sure you apply a little stroke so you can see it. Don't need a fill, a stroke, a black stroke, and you make it long enough so it's higher than the drawing, okay? So as you can see, there is the little tooltip here, and you can see that it's 75 degrees for me, okay? So this is not exactly 75. We're going to see it just after, but remember that it's what the number is for you. So for me, it's 75. I'm going to write it down so I can remember it later. Okay, I have my line here. I'm going to save one for later if I need it. Okay, so the movement I made is press Alt. As you can see, the little pointer changes here. Press Alt, click, move it, release it, release Alt. Okay, and then you select this and you do CMD 5 or Control 5 if you're on a PC, and bam, you have a guide here. Okay, so we're done with our guides for now. Just rename it guides, lock it, create a new layer, and we're going to start our vectorization. So what we are used to do is something like this. You use your pen tool and you do something like this. Okay, this can be nice. This can be really well done. Usually you have another guide here, so you can be really precise. Something like this, okay, like this, okay. Okay, this can be done, of course. This can be even really nice. If you look at it, it's quite okay. It's really not perfect here, for example. It can be nice, but it's not perfect. Why? Because we're doing it with our hand, with our eye, and this is really not something you can rely on this vectorization. This is a lettering piece that's really geometrical. So we want all the angles to be equal. We want the distances to be respected. So it's really a better idea. It's going to be really better and faster if we use geometric shapes. Okay, so I'm gonna just delete this. And we're going to use all the geometric shapes that we have in Illustrator, like the rectangle tool with rounded corners. So I'm going to draw one. I press Shift so I can have a perfect square. So I like the angles. I think they're pretty consistent with my drawing. But if you don't like it, you just can click and you change the value here. So the higher, the bigger. So I like mine. I just press CMDY so I just see the outline like this, okay? But my problem here is that this is vertical and I need it to be diagonal. So as you remember a little earlier, I defined that this was 75%. The angle is 75 degrees. So this is not exactly 75. We need to get a more precise angle, and for that we're going to use this tool. I think this is the measure tool in English. So if you don't see it, it's usually behind the eyedrop. So you just click on the eyedrop like this and you select this. Okay, so with this tool we're going to be able to have a really more precise value here. So you can measure it on a small distance because the angle won't change, but make sure that you zoom in so you have the most precise value that you can have. Okay, so you just click here on the line. You can see that there is a little information panel that just opened. You align it like this and you can see that it's not 75, it's 75.456, sorry, so 456, 75.456. So this is the value that I want. It's not exactly the same as 75, and if we want to be precise, we need to use precise data. So 75.456 degrees. It's easier for me to say that. So write this down for you. Okay, you write down the value because we're going to use this to calculate the value we need to transform this square here. Okay, so how are we going to know how to deform this shape? Well, it's easy. What we need to do is to know this value because this is what we're going to change. So this is pretty easy, but we can check it together. a straight line like this is 90%, of course. So you make a subtraction. So I'm going to use my calculator because I don't know how to do that from with my head. So it's 90 minus 75.456, which is 14.544 for me. Okay, so I keep that information. I'm just selecting my shape, right click, transform, shear, and here we're going to use the horizontal axis. Make sure preview selected, and you're going to change the angle here with the result you had. So for me it's 14.544. Okay, and this is supposed to fit nicely with my guide. And as you can see, this is pretty flawless. So it's a nice square like this. It's really what I want. So we're going to keep on doing the same method for this part here. We're not going to use the pen tool. We're going to use the square tool, the rectangle tool. So the first thing we need to do is define the width here, okay? Because this is what we're going to do, what we're going to use consistently for all our letters. So what I'm going to do here is start from this angle here, just drag it, and as you can see, you have the tooltip and you have the width. For me, it's 10.62. Yeah, let's say 10.62. So this is something that we're gonna keep. I'm going to keep this shape like this one if I need it a little later. So Alt, move it around. Okay, so I have this shape. I'm going to make it a little taller than the full height of my lettering. Okay, and we're going to use the same method. Transform, right click, transform, shear. The value is here. I'm just going to add, it's 544, but it's rounded down. So 14,544. Okay, and I'm going to align it like this with my guide and my shape. So you need to really make sure that those are really nicely aligned. So really be precise. You can use the snap if you don't have, you just have to make sure that like this, it's really perfectly aligned. Okay, when you are sure that it's aligned together, you can align it with your guide. So really zoom in. As you can see, it's really difficult to do, but it's very, very important that it's really aligned together. Okay, so now we have this here, and we're going to use it here like this. So then we can subtract shapes together. So I'm going to click this, press Alt, so I can duplicate it and drag it and down to here. Okay, release it, zoom in. As you can see, it's not perfectly aligned, so you have to be really thorough. This is really important to have the perfect alignment like this. This is precise. Okay, just going to check the other one. Okay, I'm just going to mask the guides so I can make the perfect alignment like this. This looks nice. Damn. This is not exactly what I want. So as you can see, it's pretty difficult to align perfectly your shapes. So take the time you need. Okay, we're gonna say it's okay. So now you have a perfect pattern that you will be able to repeat for the whole lettering piece. Why? Because as you can see here, I'm just going to revert it to normal. Well, here you can't see really how it works, but when you look at the outline mode, if I subtract all the shapes together, we have everything. We have this here. We just need to remove this, but we have this part here like this. We have this here, and this is going to work for the whole lettering piece. Okay, so I'm just going to use this shape here, and I'm going to replicate it for those 3 other letters. We're not going to do the full word, but just check it out like this. As you can see, it works. Same with this one. Alt and Shift, so it's not going to go up and down. Alt and Shift, release. Okay, and let's do it once again for this one. So as you can see, my drawing is not as perfect as what I got here. So what we are going to trust are our shapes, but once again, make sure that your drawing is really, really nice. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go back. Well, maybe you can save one for later for your other shapes or other letters. Okay, just make sure you always keep something intact before you shatter everything, because you might really need it later. Okay, so we're going to start with the P letter here. Okay, I'm going to revert it. I'm selecting all my shapes and I'm using the Pathfinder. Okay, and it's the divide option that we're going to use. The divide option is going to make it look like a puzzle. We're going to keep everything, but all will be shattered pieces. Okay, so just click on divide. Okay, object, you ungroup everything, and then you just need to remove everything that you don't want. So we don't want this, we don't want this, and we don't want this part. So as you can see, it was not perfectly aligned because this and this are still attached. So if you are confronted to something like this, just use the pen tool, the anchor point suppression, and you remove points like this. Okay, and then here you just need to select your point here, and you're just going to transform it like this. So it's a little hacky, but this can help you if you didn't align it properly. Okay, so I have my P. I just need to use another shape here that I'm going to align with my guide like this. Select this, select this, subtract, and voila. So we're going to use the exact same method for this letter. Okay, so remember it's an H. So what you want to do is select everything, divide, ungroup, so it's Shift CMD G. So Shift CMD G is ungroup. You can revert with CMD Y, so you can see the outline and you can know what you don't want. Okay, so I don't want this piece here. I want to keep this because this is not an angle. This is not a rounded corner. So we want to remove this part. We're going to do this later. What we're going to do here is use a rectangle. like this, align it with your guide, you select this, and you're not going to do a subtraction because there are multiple shapes, so we're going to do divide again, ungroup, and you remove everything that you don't want, like this, okay? So you can do the same on top. Here is just one shape that you want to subtract, so just click, okay, and subtraction, like this. And this part, we're going to do it later, okay? Back to outline mode, select everything, divide, ungroup, and remove what you don't want. This part here, this one here, and this here. And if you turn it back, you can see that you have this. So in my drawing especially, this shape, you would reuse this, the O, here. So no need to do this one all over again. You just use this, use this, and drag it down to here, okay? Once it's done, once we did this part here, okay? Last letter we're going to do together, turn it back. So it's an N, as you can see, it's angle here, 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 angle here, and rounded corner here, okay? So it's pretty much like the O, but not exactly. Turn everything back, select everything, divide, ungroup, and remove the parts you don't want. This we don't want, but this we're going to keep, this we're going to keep, this we're going to keep. So there we're going to use the rectangle tool, drag one here, okay, another one here, that's right, select this and this, subtract, okay, select those, all of those, divide, ungroup, select everything, remove, bam, it's perfect. So next step is removing what's here in the middle. So it's not exactly the same for everything. Here we want to just this part between the two guides, same here, but for the N and the H we want here, here, down to the bottom. So first thing we need to do is select the rectangle tool and make a shape that covers all this area, which is exactly everything we're going to cut on every letter. So change the color. It's always great to change the color so you can see what you're doing using a red, just making sure that it's perfectly aligned with my guides. Okay, perfect. So going to select this, 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 okay? Everything that we want to modify. Divide, ungroup, remember Shift, CMD or Control and G, okay? And what you just need to do is use the magic wand. You select a red piece like this and magic. What happened here? What we did is with the magic wand, we selected by clicking on a red piece, we selected everything red. And since we covered these parts and divided them with red, now they are red. So this is a really nice trick when you don't want to spend too much time removing things. We use a different color, make it really different. If you make it like really close from a black, it's not going to make the difference. So make it red or something flashy. Select with the magic wand and remove everything like this. And now we just need to remove all the little parts here and here that we don't want. Okay, so now that we're done with the vectorization, well, in theory, but we're going to say that it's done. We can just hide the guides, select everything, and just reunite everything, merge everything with the Pathfinder. So you will see that there will be some places like here and here where it's not exactly like you want it, so don't hesitate. Either you can move the points like this. You select the points and you move it with the keyboard, the arrows and the keyboard. Move it like this and you unite it. So you will see that there will be little points here, so you can clean it by hand because all of these are useless. So you just need to remove. You use the pen tool, okay, like this, and you remove all the points that you don't need. So here, as you can see, there are little points that have nothing to do here. So you just remove them, and you are going to remain with 1 point per. See here, there are points that you don't need, normally don't need. Okay, so here you have something that is really perfectly clean. Okay, so same with those, like this. You select those, move it like this. Well, move it with your keyboard, this, okay, ungroup this, select this and this, merge them together with the Pathfinder, and remove all the little points here that are left due to the fact that we had pieces before. We had a puzzle, so we have the little the edges that remains, but it's not essential for your vector, and it's not something that you want to keep. You really want to keep the fewest number of points that you can. So really make sure that you clean everything up. Same here. So here we had two pieces, so that this is normal that it's still divided here. So you just have to select the points and move like this, so you can merge everything together and remove the points that you don't need. You are not forced to do it. Just I want you to know that this is something that I do because I love to have really clean vectors. It's not something that you have to do, but this is something that I strongly encourage you to do, because the more points you have, the more problems you will have later. A point is supposed to indicate a change of direction. Here, there is no change of direction, so these points are useless. Don't keep points that you don't need. Okay, clean it up. And there you go. You have something really clean. So there you go. So what we saw here are different things. We saw how we can use shapes from Illustrator, perfect shapes. You will never do a circle as perfect as Illustrator can. So we saw how to use the shapes to build letters, to remove parts. Okay. We saw how to use the measuring tool to measure an angle, and how to put this all together to make a clean vectorization thanks to the Pathfinder, the modes, the divide mode that will shatter everything and allow you to select the pieces you want and the pieces you don't want. The subtract tool, be careful when you use that. Only use it if you have just two overlapping paths. If you have more, you will run into problems. And the add, it's not merge, it's add tool that will reunite, that will merge path together.